Have you ever felt it? That faint, almost imperceptible vibration from your wallet or purse as you move through a crowd, followed by a quiet digital chirp you might mistake for someone else's phone. In a world humming with technology, these moments are easy to dismiss. We are conditioned to the constant buzz of notifications, the tap of screens, the seamless transactions that govern our daily lives. But what if one of those phantom signals wasn't harmless? What if it was the sound of your money being silently siphoned from your account, without you ever touching a payment machine, entering a PIN, or even realizing a crime had occurred? For many seasoned adults, the idea of a faceless thief breaching the digital fortress of a bank account feels like a plot from a Hollywood thriller, something that happens to other people in distant, hyper-digitized cities. Yet a new and insidious form of theft is quietly spreading through our communities, from the bustling streets of New York to the quiet suburban towns of Ohio. It's called ghost tapping, and it preys on the very trust and convenience that modern payment systems were designed to provide. It is swift, silent, and often completed before you've even taken your next step. Imagine this: a single, innocent trip to the grocery store, a leisurely lunch with dear friends, or even the simple act of standing in line at a local fair. In any of these everyday scenarios, your credit or debit card could be charged without your knowledge or consent. This isn't about creating fear or suggesting you should lock your cards away and revert to a cash-only existence. Far from it. This is about empowerment. It's about arming you with the crucial knowledge to recognize the subtle warning signs, to understand the clever psychology these criminals exploit, and to erect a simple but powerful shield around your hard-earned financial security. What makes this particular threat so profoundly dangerous is its reliance on our ingrained habits and social courtesies. We are accustomed to the fluid motion of tapping our cards, a gesture that has become second nature. Now imagine someone else performing that action for you, without your permission, by merely getting close enough with a device hidden from view. They don't need your signature, they don't need to see your card, and they certainly don't need your PIN. All they need is proximity and your momentary distraction. In the course of our time together today, we are going to pull back the curtain on 5 of the newest and most deceptive ghost tapping tricks that every person who uses a credit or debit card absolutely needs to be aware of. These are not the recycled warnings you might have heard before. Some of these schemes unfold in the very places you visit every single week, while others leverage situations that appear utterly harmless on the surface. I urge you to stay with me until the very end, because the final method we'll discuss may be the most surprising, and it could fundamentally change how you carry and handle your payment cards from this day forward. This is the first step toward turning vulnerability into strength. If you believe knowledge is the best defense and are ready to learn, please comment with the number 1 below to let me know you're with me on this journey. One of the most pervasive and psychologically cunning ghost tap maneuvers now appearing across the country is a tactic I call the crowded space gambit. Its brilliance lies in its simplicity and its ability to hide in plain sight, exploiting the natural rhythm of life in public spaces. We are all conditioned to accept and even ignore minor physical contact in crowded environments. A jostle in a busy supermarket aisle, a gentle bump while boarding a bus, a slight press of bodies in an elevator. These are the unremarkable textures of a shared public existence. Criminals have learned to weaponize this social norm. The thief operates with a small handheld point-of-sale device, often no larger than a modern smartphone, concealed cleverly under a jacket, inside a folded newspaper, or tucked within a nondescript bag. This device is engineered to activate your card's contactless payment chip, the very technology that allows for tap to pay from a distance of several inches. You could be admiring the fresh produce at a local farmer's market in California, waiting patiently for your morning coffee at a bustling cafe, or stepping onto an escalator at the mall. In that fleeting moment when a stranger accidentally brushes against you, their hidden device is already at work, processing a fraudulent charge directly from your account. The true danger is rooted in how utterly normal the encounter feels. A crowded store, a busy sidewalk, even a lively community festival makes brushing up against someone seem trivial. Many of us were raised with an ethos of politeness. We smile, murmur an "excuse me," and move on without a second thought. These criminals are counting on that ingrained courtesy. They thrive on your guard being down, relying on the cloak of plausible deniability that a crowded space provides. They don't need more than a fraction of a second of your time to succeed. The illicit payment can be for a small, almost negligible amount, designed to go unnoticed on your bank statement, or it could be for a larger sum, just under the threshold that might trigger an immediate fraud alert from your bank. I recently spoke with a gentleman named Harold, a sharp 78-year-old retired engineer from Arizona. He discovered 3 small, puzzling charges on his monthly bank statement after a Saturday trip to a popular outdoor market. He was certain he hadn't used his card that day at all. As we retraced his steps, he recalled being jostled a few times near the more popular stalls. The charges, each under $10, were timed almost perfectly to those moments. It was a sobering wake-up call, not just for him, but for everyone who hears his story. It's definitive proof that you don't have to physically lose your card to lose your money. Have you ever checked your statement and found a small charge you couldn't quite place? Share your experience in the comments below. You might be helping someone else recognize a red flag. The most intelligent defense against this gambit is a combination of awareness and simple physical barriers. Consider where you keep your wallet or purse. Is it in a back pocket easily accessible, or in an outer pouch of a handbag? Shifting it to a front pocket or utilizing a crossbody bag worn in front of you dramatically reduces a thief's ability to get close without being obvious. Furthermore, you can invest in an inexpensive but incredibly effective RFID blocking sleeve or wallet. These accessories are lined with a material that creates a protective field, a sort of digital shield, making it impossible for your card to be read without you first removing it. They are lightweight, affordable, and the peace of mind they offer is invaluable. In those crowded moments, be mindful of your personal space. You are not being paranoid or rude for stepping aside or turning slightly when someone invades your bubble. In today's world, that small act of spatial caution is an act of financial self-preservation. This brings us to another, more insidious setting where trust is twisted into a tool for theft: the places we go to relax and connect with others. This second major threat is what we'll call the hospitality deception, and it is rapidly growing within restaurants, diners, and cafes. The scam often begins at the most predictable moment, the end of a pleasant meal, when you hand over your credit or debit card to pay the bill. While the vast majority of servers and hospitality workers are hard-working and honest individuals, criminals can infiltrate these roles or collude with a dishonest employee to exploit a moment of trust. Here's how the deception unfolds. Instead of taking your card directly to the official payment register, the server takes a brief, unnoticeable detour. They might pass it over a concealed tapping device hidden near their station, or simply place it for a second on a counter where a secondary reader is stashed. In less time than it takes to sip your coffee, your card's contactless chip has been read and its data stored for fraudulent use later. All of this happens while you are comfortably seated at your table, finishing a conversation with friends, completely oblivious. The trap works so effectively because it leverages a deeply ingrained habit. Many of us can remember a time when letting our card leave our sight was the only way to pay. The server would walk away with it, run it through a machine in the back, and return with a slip to sign. With the advent of modern contactless payments and portable terminals, there is no longer a technical need for this separation. However, old habits die hard. Criminals are acutely aware of this lingering routine and count on it. They know that the longer your card is physically out of your possession, the more opportunities they have to scan it discreetly. Consider the experience of Margaret, a 69-year-old retired teacher from Illinois. She and her friends had their weekly lunch at a small, family-owned diner she had been patronizing for years. A week later, her bank called to report suspicious activity. There were several online purchases and small in-person tap payments from stores she had never visited, all made within a few minutes of each other. The bank's fraud department traced the likely point of compromise back to the day of that lunch. The first unauthorized tap occurred just minutes after her legitimate meal payment was processed. Margaret was heartbroken. The betrayal of trust from the smiling young server who had taken her card was, in her words, more painful than the money she lost. To protect yourself from this hospitality deception, the solution is straightforward and empowering. Always request that the payment terminal be brought directly to your table. The vast majority of modern restaurants are equipped with portable readers for this very purpose. If, for some reason, they are not, you have every right to accompany the staff member to the register to witness the transaction yourself. Never feel awkward or demanding for doing so. If you use a mobile payment system on your phone or smartwatch, keep the device locked until the precise moment you are ready to pay. And never, ever feel pressured to let your card out of your hand until you are absolutely certain it is only touching the legitimate payment device. Your financial well-being is worth far more than a fleeting moment of perceived convenience. If you found this particular insight valuable and it's something you plan to implement, let me know by commenting with the number 2 below. And if you haven't done so yet, please consider subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications. Your support helps us create more content like this to keep our community informed and safe. Now, let's move forward and examine a domain where close quarters are not just common, but unavoidable. Buses, trains, and subways have become prime hunting grounds for ghost tap thieves, particularly in bustling cities during peak travel times. The constant motion, noise, and crush of passengers create a perfect storm of distraction, allowing criminals to operate with near invisibility. They often employ small battery-powered contactless readers, easily concealed inside a backpack, a grocery bag, or the folds of a jacket. The only action required for their crime is to stand or sit close enough to someone's pocket, purse, or backpack where a payment card is stored. In the controlled chaos of boarding a train or finding a seat on a crowded bus, you may not even register that someone has brushed past you. Yet, in that split second of contact, the details from your card's chip may have been skimmed. The risk is particularly acute for seniors, as many of us, for the sake of convenience, carry our cards in easily accessible places. A side pocket in a winter coat, the outer zippered compartment of a purse, or a wallet in a loose-fitting pair of trousers. Each of these can be an open invitation to a thief skilled in this modern form of digital pickpocketing. Unlike traditional pickpocketing, which often involves a telltale fumbling or tugging sensation, this method is entirely ethereal. The tap device works silently, and the scammer can make a series of rapid small charges before you have even arrived at your destination. I recall a conversation with James, a 73-year-old retired mechanic I met at a community event in Philadelphia. He recounted how he lost over $200 during a single 20-minute bus ride across town. The charges were initially small, a coffee here, a snack from a convenience store there, but they added up with alarming speed. By the time he received a fraud alert from his bank, the thief had already successfully used his card information at half a dozen locations along that very bus route. James admitted, with a sigh of frustration, that he had kept his card in an outer jacket pocket. He believed it was secure because the pocket was zipped. He didn't understand that the powerful little scanner didn't need the pocket to be open. It simply read the card's signal right through the fabric. To safeguard yourself in these environments, the first line of defense is, once again, an RFID blocking wallet or sleeve. They are a simple one-time purchase that provides continuous protection. When on public transport, make it a habit to keep your bag zipped and held close to your body, preferably in front of you where you can see it. If you must carry your card in a pocket, choose an inside pocket that faces toward your body, making it physically harder for a scanner to get a clean read. Situational awareness is your most potent weapon, especially in places where close contact is an accepted part of the experience. The threat, however, does not end when you step off the bus or train. In fact, another place where ghost tap thieves are becoming increasingly bold is right in line at the ATM. Many of us view ATMs, especially those located inside bank lobbies, as zones of enhanced security. They are well lit, often monitored by cameras, and represent the bank itself. But ghost tap scams bypass the ATM's physical security entirely. They don't require brute force to break into the machine or sophisticated cameras to steal your PIN. They simply require proximity to your card, while your attention is focused elsewhere, and an ATM queue provides the perfect stage for this deception. The trick is often executed with unnerving subtlety. A scammer will join the line behind you, holding what appears to be a smartphone or a small tablet. Concealed within or behind this ordinary-looking device is a contactless reader. As you step up to the ATM, your mind is occupied. You are focused on the screen, thinking about your balance, or concentrating on the transaction you were about to make. In that critical moment of focused distraction, the thief edges just a little closer, holding their device near your back pocket, your purse, or wherever you might be carrying your wallet. You won't feel a thing, but within seconds, they may have skimmed your card's information or even processed small instant charges. I remember hearing a distressing story from an 80-year-old widow named Clara, who stopped by her local bank one afternoon to withdraw some cash for her grandson's birthday. While she was waiting in line, she felt the man behind her was standing uncomfortably close, but she dismissed it as a simple lack of awareness on his part, not wanting to make a scene. The next morning, she checked her account online and saw several charges from a nearby gas station and a convenience store, places she hadn't been to in months. Her bank's fraud department was able to trace the timing of the first fraudulent transaction to within minutes of her ATM visit. The man didn't need to touch her wallet. His hidden device did all the work while she was looking at the screen. If you've ever felt uneasy about someone standing too close in line, your instincts might be telling you something important. Trust them. To guard against this, make it a habit to keep your payment cards inside an RFID blocking sleeve until the very moment you need to insert one into the ATM. Consciously maintain a comfortable amount of personal space around you in the queue. If someone is crowding you, it is perfectly acceptable to politely turn and ask them to give you a little more room. Your security is paramount. Whenever possible, opt for ATMs located inside secure bank branches rather than standalone machines in high-traffic, less controlled environments. A little bit of distance and a proactive mindset can be all it takes to disrupt a scammer's entire operation. If you're finding these insights helpful and they've made you think about your own habits, please let me know by commenting with the number 4 below. Your feedback helps me understand what's most valuable to you. Finally, we arrive at the 5th and perhaps most deceptive scam, one that blends in so seamlessly with our daily routines that it's often completely overlooked. I call it the gateway gambit, and it takes place at the fare gates and ticket machines of our public transportation systems. This is a nuanced variation of the public transit scam we discussed earlier, but its focus and execution are distinct and demand special attention. As more and more transit authorities adopt contactless payment systems for fares, they have unintentionally created a new vulnerability that criminals are eagerly exploiting. Here is the typical scenario. A scammer positions themselves near a bank of ticket machines or a busy set of turnstiles during rush hour. They are holding their concealed reader disguised as a phone, a music player, or even a folded newspaper. As you approach the gate, you might reach into your purse or pocket and pull out your entire wallet to find your transit card. In that moment, as you fumble to isolate the right card, all of your other contactless credit and debit cards are exposed and vulnerable. The thief angles their device toward your open wallet, and in a split second, they have tapped one of your bank cards without your knowledge. What makes this gambit so pernicious is the nature of the fraudulent charge. The amounts are often very small, frequently mirroring the exact cost of a single transit fare, a few dollars at most. When you later review your bank statement, a charge for $2.75 might not raise any alarms. You would naturally assume it was a legitimate fare payment. This perfect camouflage means many people never notice the theft at all. These small parasitic charges can accumulate over time, and because they appear as ordinary transit payments, banks are often slower to flag them as suspicious. I spoke with a gentleman named George, a 75-year-old who rides the subway in Chicago twice a week to volunteer at a local library. One month, he noticed his credit card bill seemed a little higher than usual. He initially dismissed it, but the feeling lingered. He decided to meticulously go through his statement and compare the transit charges with the days he actually traveled. To his shock, he found multiple small charges on days he had been at home all day. That's when he realized that a ghost tap thief had likely been scanning cards of passengers as they passed through a particularly congested entrance gate, and his card had been one of the victims. To protect yourself from the gateway gambit, the key is separation and intention. Store your primary transit card separately from your wallet, perhaps in an easily accessible but different pocket or a specific compartment of your bag. Even better, keep all of your contactless payment cards in RFID blocking sleeves. When it's time to pay your fare, take out only the specific card you intend to use at the last possible moment, tap it, and then immediately return it to its secure place. This simple habit completely closes the window of opportunity for this fast-growing scam, ensuring that the only toll you pay is the one that gets you to your destination. We live in an age of incredible convenience, a time when our financial lives are connected in ways we could never have imagined in our younger years. But with that convenience comes a new set of risks, challenges that require not fear, but wisdom and awareness. These ghost tapping scams are clever, they are fast, and they are often invisible until the damage is done. But here is the empowering truth: knowledge is your first and most formidable line of defense. The more you understand about how these deceptive tricks work, the harder it becomes for anyone to take advantage of you. I have always held the firm belief that growing older is not about becoming weaker or more vulnerable. In fact, it is quite the opposite. It is an opportunity to become wiser, more discerning, and more resilient. When we choose to arm ourselves with knowledge, we transform potential threats into manageable challenges. Every single one of the scams we've explored today thrives on the element of surprise and the cloak of distraction. By simply recognizing the patterns and understanding the methods, you are already one giant step ahead of any would-be thief. Think of it in the same way you think about locking your front door at night. You don't do it because you live in constant fear, expecting trouble every single evening. You do it because you value your safety, your security, and your peace of mind. It is a simple, proactive habit that protects what is important to you. I encourage you to take a quiet moment today to think about your own daily routines. Where do you keep your cards? How do you navigate crowded spaces? Are there simple, small adjustments you could make, starting right now, that would effectively close the window of opportunity for these thieves? Small actions such as using an RFID blocking wallet, making it a habit to check your bank statements regularly, or being more mindful of how you handle your cards in public can make a world of difference. And please remember, talking about these risks with your friends, your family, and your neighbors isn't about spreading fear. It's about spreading a shield of collective protection. If you have learned something here today that could help someone you care about, pass it along. That simple conversation might just save them from the frustration, financial loss, and emotional toll of being a victim. Thank you for investing your time with us today. Your engagement and your stories are what make this community strong. We would love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below and share the single most valuable thing you learned today and how you plan to use that knowledge in your life. Your thoughts and experiences are incredibly important, so please don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments provides us with immense motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please give it a like, subscribe to our channel, and share it with others. Your support is what enables us to continue creating meaningful content designed to inform, inspire, and empower. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.